Good evening, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I want to respond to the question, the general question that hasn't been asked of me per se, but are you religious? Somebody might ask another person this question, and it's one of those questions that is so broad in scope or potential interpretation that it requires some kind of clarification. If you ask me, just to begin to answer it, what religious? Okay, well it's a huge word. Do you mean spiritual? Do you mean Orthodox religion? Do you mean organized? Do you mean going to church? Do you mean worshiping something? I mean, probably some degree of all these things combined. I'm guessing that's the conventional meaning, but religion, you can also religiously practice certain things that have nothing to do with spirituality. So it's fair and honest to say that you're religious if you religiously do one of those things. So it's a very difficult question to answer. For me personally, if somebody were to ask this question, are you religious? In the conventional sense, based on what I just said, probably not that much. I believe in doing the right thing. I believe that you get what you give, and I believe that fairness is one of the highest values you can uphold. I believe in honor and righteousness, so if that constitutes religion, sure, absolutely. But I think for most people, there's some ritual involved. There's some, pomp and circumstance, wearing the symbols, attending the meetings, church that is, and doing things that, if you ask me, aren't central to any religion necessarily, but if that's your definition, I suppose I'm probably not religious. It just depends on what you mean exactly. So hopefully that clears it up. But in general, as an aside, a connected parallel subject, many subjects are not clear. And even if you have a dictionary, even if you expect somebody else to refer to the same dictionary for clarification, that doesn't necessarily reflect what you mean every time. It can't. The dictionary is there to help disambiguate meaning in the event of ambiguity. It doesn't confine you to a meaning. It doesn't necessarily speak for you. But unfortunately, I think we as a culture, as a community in this part of the world, have gotten off the rails with expecting people to refer to documents and dictionaries as the source of meaning and authority for all kinds of stuff, including policies, regulations, and just communication in general. You're expected. Everything's a monologue now. What do you mean? Well, what do you think I mean? Read the dictionary. Okay, well, I'm not talking to the dictionary. I'm talking to you, and turns out you could mean any number of things for just about everything you say. So this is why we have dialogue, right? Best case scenario is you're able to ask for clarification, for somebody to expand on what they said, their meaning, what context that they're referring to, because believe it or not, communication is kind of a miracle. And it's the fact that people can do it verbally is pretty unique in this world. Birds do it, other animals do it, dolphins, I guess, whales, I don't know. But it's the level of sophistication that humans have is kind of unprecedented that I've seen. And I also think that because it's so complex, there is a huge margin for error. And to assume that people should just automatically know what you mean because dictionaries are a thing, because they exist, that's not very fair. Monologues are, unfortunately, the bread and butter of chain of command type environments, where you're expected to follow orders, you're expected to report to a boss, and they report to their boss, and you're not expected to question necessarily a lot of stuff, but unfortunately, that's not realistic. That only works in a closed system, and once reality is confronted by any such group, a security group or military group, this is usually where you find these environments, reality will have a different thing to say about it, because reality doesn't care about your perspective or your opinion. Reality is objective, and it doesn't require your permission to exist. So what ends up happening is, long story short, you end up with a monologue, right? Chain of command communication is follow my instructions and don't ask too many questions. That's usually how it goes. But unfortunately, this doesn't work in the real world. In the real world, you have to have an avenue for appeal. You have to have feedback. You have to have the opportunity to ask for expansion of meaning. And you have to be able to expand your own meaning, right? You can't just, write something down and expect 100% of people to understand it and follow it exactly, because that's stupid. It doesn't work. That will never work. So anyhow, you might be able to tell how I feel about monologues. I feel like it's a necessary evil when you're reading a book, but pretty much in all other cases, it's good to be able to ask people what they mean exactly when you need to, within reason. Reach out if you like with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.